How y'all doing? It is Wednesday, June 22nd, 2022 AD. And how y'all doing? Somebody says that perhaps Tyrone has not been subscribed to Hake for 5 days, question mark? Because I believe I did unblock Tyrone, okay? Just looking at the YouTube chat, guys. Anyway, it is 9:01 a.m. U.S. Pacific Daylight Time here in Los Angeles. Gonna have a fun Wednesday show for you. Hope you enjoyed Manhood Hour on the Jesse Lee Peterson show that just ended. I'm on his network, as you may know, and you can call in, guys. Some of you already on hold. Gonna talk about this woman treasurer. Not just any woman treasurer, it's an Indian woman. American Indian, that is. Some of you Canadians think Indian means India Indian, because you have so many India Indians here. Oh, up there, I mean. Terrible. I'm also going to talk about Russia, gas prices, even cigarettes. Cigarettes. Terrible. And the attack on Bill Cosby and this Uvalde thing. Emotional Uvalde mess. Terrible. But anyway, guys, let's get right on with the show!
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La, la, la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La, la, la.
Hey, guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La, la, la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La, la, la.
So, how y'all doing? I am fine. Sorry, let me clear my throat. Can you hear me, Odyssey? Odyssey, can you hear me? Press 1 if you can hear me. Press 2 if you cannot hear me. I just saw no audio. So I reset the stream. Hopefully it'll kick in for you guys. Thank you for the heads up on that. I do like to look at the chat. So if only Hake's musical selection sounded this good. What? Silence? Resetting. Just gonna type that in there. Guys, I am wearing my never, ever, 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 never, 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 ever, but never tell a woman your problems. Boom. It's a Jesse Lee Peterson t-shirt. And stream audio good. Thank you, Nick. And I'm talking about Odyssey specifically. Just so you're aware, Nico. We had to reset JLP stream today. I don't know what happened, but same thing with Hake sometimes. It's Odyssey. It's on Odyssey's end. It's not on ours. Although we may be streaming too Odyssey. We may be streaming at too high of quality. Just FYI. Audio is good there too now. Thank you, guys. All right. Jesse Lee Peterson T-shirts available by going to rebuildingtheman.com/stores. I'm on his network. So you're helping him, you're helping me. Nice, huh? But Hake cherishes women, reminds everybody. Lady C-Sal reminds everyone. Yes, I cherish women. Just like Trump cherishes women. I may not cherish women the way that Trump exactly does. Trump may cherish women by putting them in positions of power that I would not advise. And other unchristian people, too. Non-man-thinking people. There's like whole cultures that are unchristian cultures, and they are woman-thinking cultures. It's a mess. And he's got them in his family, his in-laws. He has outlaws for in-laws. To paraphrase that Robin Hood movie. Remember that Robin Hood cartoon movie with the fox being Robin Hood? It was a Disney movie back in the day. Speaking of simping for women, Oh, you know what? Quickly, let me get to a call, actually. I apparently got to any calls yesterday. Thank you for bearing with me, guys. You can call in 888-775-3773. But I got to get to Denny in Bulgaria. Denny, how are you doing, man?
All is well, Mr. Hake. I hope things are fine on your end.
Things are fine on my end. I appreciate it.
Glad to hear, Mr. Hake. I'm calling with a little bit of an update with the Ukrainian refugees here in Bulgaria, in Sofia.
Okay.
As you probably know, some of them were stationed around the Black Sea area during the winter after February when the war started.
Okay.
Because the hotels were empty.
Oh.
Now, most of them actually found jobs and they have their own accommodations here. And it's pretty good because a lot of them are stationed at the market that I go to, to buy basic stuff like clothes and groceries.
Nice.
And they integrated so well, like it's like they've always been here.
Wow.
Which is absolutely, and because the language is very similar, they don't even really need a lot of adjustment.
Nice.
Which is remarkable.
That's what happens when you have neighboring countries being the place where so-called refugees go, or real refugees in this case, go. Man, that's nice.
Absolutely.
You were going to say more?
Absolutely. Oh, yes. There is this confused little boy who is a talk show host of a Daily Show or something. His name is Trevor, but I forgot his last name.
Oh, yeah. Noah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
The Bulgarian Prime Minister was on a conference in February, and she said that she would love to help the refugees as much as possible because, unlike others, those are actually real refugees, and we need to help them because it would be good for them and it would be good for us. Those were his words.
Uh-huh.
And even if he wasn't right, although he was, even if he wasn't right, people shouldn't really attack viciously other people just because they disagree with them. Mr. Hake, he was absolutely right. Because I've seen what the other so-called refugees did to this country and to the city, and I can see what the people that are here now are doing. It's great, and it's remarkable. There are a lot of young children, and they're like playing on the playground, and they're going to school here. I'm not saying they're happy or anything, because their country was destroyed, but at least they had enough strength in them to start a new life, and for now, it's pretty remarkable to see the differences between the two kinds of refugees.
Yeah, for sure, man. Wow. What a great report.
No, it's pretty remarkable. Mr. Hake, thank you for doing what you're doing. Thank you for the time. I wish you a remarkable day and all the best, sir.
Thank you, Denny. It's great to hear from you. Take care.
Likewise. Goodbye, sir.
All right. The chat had me chuckling, talking about the different ways in which Trump has cherished women over the years. Hake cherishes Joy Behar. Joy Behar, one of the older unchristian ladies. I think she's Italian, married to a Jewish guy over there at The View, with the cackling hens at The View. And his locker room talk, referencing Trump's locker room talk from 2005, that was said in private conversation with Billy Bush, one of the Bush cousins, one of the good ones. Well, I don't know if he was a good one, and Trump was making him laugh, and it was funny, and it was said in private, and it was misconstrued by radical homosexuals like, who's that guy? Anderson Cooper? Ugh. At CNN, Commie Nonsense Network, which I read all the time, saying, you admitted to sexual assault. Dumb. And Trump said, I cherish women. And then sick evil Hillary Clinton, lying crooked Hillary, as Trump called her, said, we don't want you to respect women. I mean, we don't want you to cherish women. We want you to respect women. Dumb. It's the last thing women need. Has not been good for women to get this undue respect, as so-called leaders. Right? Right. And speaking... Oh, you know what? Is there anything else? Since we're talking about women. Just a side note, a little update on my cheek, or really gums or tooth or whatever, jaw, bone. You know how I told you about my beta tooth or beta teeth? I got them worked on what was that? What was that? Monday, right after the show. I didn't even do a proper summary for my show on Monday. I just quick timestamps, boom, put it out there for you guys to audio podcast. And I went over to the dentist, and he's all weak tooth as he was like working and chipping away at it, literally chipping away at it. And it was falling apart as he was grinding different things, the different parts of the tooth or parts that were not actual tooth, you know, big old filling and different things, rot, stuff like that. And he prescribed to me 2 different kinds of pain medication. One I did not even try, hydrocodone. No, I'm not going to share it with anybody. I don't do that stuff, okay? Don't ask. He also prescribed, what was that? That stuff that prevents you, antibiotics. Antibiotics. You allergic to such and such? Penicillin? No, I'm not allergic. Shoot. And I was almost insulted that he asked. I'm just kidding. And he also prescribed ibuprofen, right? 600 milligram, whatever. You guys know that stuff better than I do. And some of you. And so he gave me one right off the bat because he numbed the heck out of my mouth twice. Because he worked away at it and then came up with a solution. I'm like, yeah, do that. And so he started to work right away again and then put more numbing stuff in it. What, Novocaine or something? I don't know. But apparently, like, he had to cut into my gums or something to grind away at the bone to give the tooth more tooth to grab to put a crown on it, hopefully. And hopefully not need a root canal. Because he said, oh, you know, the... chuckling because Turd Ferguson says hydrocodone is the greatest thing since the Bible. I disavow drugs. Oh yeah, he told me if you take that you can't drive, and I want to drive. Not that I need to drive, but he hopefully doesn't need to do a root canal because hopefully the nerve won't get exposed. And so he gave me that ibuprofen right away. Then I went to the pharmacy and picked up more, picked up all the stuff that he prescribed. And, it's like, oh, take 3 times a day. But it's take 3 times a day as needed for pain. So I'm like, after 8:30 in the morning yesterday, that would have been my 3rd dose. Because the first dose I took at the dentist office. Then the second, like at 1:30 in the morning, I woke up. I'm like, oh, I should take the take the antibiotics, and I'll take this thing too. And then I took another one at 8:30 in the morning, even though I didn't really feel like I needed it. Although it was bugging me a little. And then I haven't taken any since then. So we'll see. Hake is clearly under the effect of these medicines. But I haven't taken any in over 24 hours. So hopefully that's better. Don't leave dead teeth in your mouth, Hake. No root canals. Okay? Thank you, Matt. When is Hake's birthday? It's right now. And it's in less than a month, too. Less than a month. I just turned 40 in July, and I'm going to turn 41 in July. Nice, huh? So we'll see how it goes, but I don't know. I don't want to open my mouth too wide. And I don't want to smile too big. And I'm supposed to only chew on the left side of my mouth. Left side of my mouth. Anyway, I have to share with you, let's talk crap about women. How about that? Sorry, kids. I shouldn't say that word. Am I sorry? Who's breaking barriers? The far-left female-run outlet The Skim says, this upcoming first, Marilynn Malerba, the first so-called Native American. I'm a Native American. We're all Native Americans if we were born here under the jurisdiction of the country to Americans, especially Anglos Americans, right? Especially like people who came from like the Mayflower and all that. I got some relatives from the Mayflower. I have pictures of this woman, and she's pretty light-skinned, unless they lightened her up in these photographs. I have some photos, much of them from the New York Post, pretty liberal outlet. They pretend to be conservative. From June 21st, Biden to appoint Marilynn Malerba as the first Native American treasurer. Look at that woman. Is it me, or is she lightened up, or am I just, or is she really that light-skinned? She's almost as light-skinned as Hake. That's not a very red-skinned woman. You know, the Redskins. On Tuesday, Sleepy Joe Biden announced his intent to appoint Marilynn Malerba, the lifetime chief of the Mohegan? M-O-H-E-G-A-N. Is that any relation to the Mohicans? Mohawks? I don't know. Tribe to the position of U.S. Treasurer. As Treasurer, Malerba will oversee the U.S. Mint, the Bureau of Engraving and Printing, Fort Knox. Wow. And liaise with the Federal Reserve. Look at her. It just looks like she's dressed up. That almost looks like a old school KKK outfit, except with flowery mess. You know, those KKK outfits that look kind of silly. Or Black Hebrew Israelite outfits that look silly. Or this American Indian outfit that just looks kind of silly. And she's trying to play on both sides of the fence as being like this American politician standing in front of a portrait studio thing. Look at her Indian daishiki, says Big Bump. Yeah. She's... William in the chat, one of the Williams, says she's 1/16th slap-a-hoe. Terrible. I disavow. Look at her next to Janet Yellen, who's an unchristian lady, and I use the term loosely, short and stout. What's that say? Rosebud Sioux tribe. Is Janet Yellen part Indian too? American Indian? I say Indian just not to be disrespectful, but to be clear, because a lot of you guys confuse Indian with Indian, which that's your confusion. So a shout out to the American Indians and Canadian Indians. We love ya. Here on the Jesse Lee Peterson Network. I'm roping JLP in with this. Let's see. She'll serve as an advisor to that Treasury Secretary whom I just showed you. Hi, Janet Yellen. On community development and public engagement. This Marilynn Malerba will also oversee a newly created office, the Treasury Office of Tribal and Native Affairs. They're pretending that these people are the natives. We're the natives. They were just here occupying our rightful territory. Am I right? Shout out to the Indians. You know we love you. So Janet Yellen announced that newly created office on Tuesday, visiting that. Apparently that was a recent photo, visiting the Rosebud Sioux tribe in South Dakota. Coordinate tribal relations within the Treasury Department. Malerba's... Okay, before I go on, let me show you a little bit more from this so-called lady from a few years ago. Under Obama. This is clip 11A, I think. Couple of minutes long or so, maybe close to 3 minutes, I forget. Yes, clip 11A, this Indian lady, Indian woman. I call them Indian women, but don't take offense to that. People pretend that that's an offensive word. It's clear. It's to be clear. I learned it from Samuel Clemens, right? Samuel Clemens? The guy who wrote Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn. Okay, so here is this thing where she's introducing the worst president that we've ever had, Barack Obama. Failed president. At the Tribal Nations Conference at the White House. This is from C-SPAN, September 26th, 2016, part of the White House 2016 Tribal Nations Conference. Listen to her mess, and she'll speak like some language that's not English. Is she related to Elizabeth Warren? I don't know. And she'll just brag about a whole bunch of SJW stuff that has nothing to do with the well-being of American Indians. And so this misguided woman leading her tribe into hell. She's the lifelong leader, lifetime chief. Lifetime chief. I'll tell you more about that. And she's praising Obama. What an evil person. Here it is. Listen to this. Yeah, Mark Twain was the guy I learned Injun from. Okay, go ahead.
Muwawe hata yutai.
What?
Greetings from our Mohegan people to all our relations gathered here today. It is my honor and privilege to introduce a man who truly needs no introduction to the leaders of our great nations. This is a man who has kept his campaign promise of honoring the true nation-to-nation relationship between our respective tribal governments and the United States.
This woman's on about nothing.
By doing so, he honors our ancestors, our unique place in this United States, and our future generations. Our president has worked with our nations as a matter of social justice. Among other good works, while he has been the president, he has developed the White House Council on Native Affairs and has recently added tribal leader participation at our request. He has visited with our youth and developed Generation Indigenous as a result. This president has stood with us to oppose Native American mascots. He has provided major increases to our funding streams at the agency level.
Funding,
He's
money.
reissued the executive order requiring consultation on all matters related to tribal policy and tribal nations. The pressing issues that we all face on a range of issues, including environmental justice, climate change, language preservation, protection of sacred sites and objects of cultural patrimony, homelessness, education, Indian child welfare, health care, infrastructure, and education. Mr. President, I would like to say Tabat Niikwa Matawi wa Ituwo Kanch Waskichiki. Thank you and many blessings upon you. I now present to you the President of our United States, Barack Obama.
That was a long introduction for a man who needed no introduction, huh? Please. And this is at the White House, the so-called White House. Black on the inside White House. So play part 2. I just have to show this to you. It's humiliating. And Obama himself knows that this is humiliating because they put a cape on him and a hat, and he takes off the hat because it's not a real Indian headdress. Here it is. Look at this. Awesome. This is what we did when I found that I was part Indian. They're putting a blanket over him. Wrapped him in a blanket. Like a burrito. And put a hat on him. Like, I don't know what that hat is. Smiling all big and fake. Keeps it on. He took the hat off. Isn't this beautiful? Yes, we need to return to this. Joyful noise, right? Make a joyful noise unto the Lord. Awesome. So good. I should play that music at the break. It's too late, though. Beautiful cultural appropriation. Smallpox in that blanket? Asks Sturt Ferguson. Yeah, I know. Like one of my Asian friends said, oh, the white people sneezed and it killed all the Indians. Terrible. Hake, this sounds demonic. Yeah, definitely comedy C-SPAN. So anyway, back to present day, this woman, Marilynn Malerba, her signature, you know, like you sign your name, will be on every U.S. dollar that's printed. What a disgrace, huh? How embarrassing. And I bet you that dollar will be cheaper than any dollar prior, you know? Which it already is. The dollars are getting real cheap these days. That's not a good thing, by the way. Dollars being cheap. Making her the first Native American to have her signature appear on U.S. currency. And her appointment will add Yellen's signature, Janet Yellen, the unchristian Janet Yellen. Her signature, too, to every dollar printed. Although Yellen's been, quote-unquote, serving as Treasury Secretary since January 2021, her signature was not able to be added until the treasurer position was filled. So this Marilynn, is it Marilynn? Malerba, they keep on saying Malerba, but when it's a woman, you put the first name and you don't usually say the last name. Play Volmar. I know, I want to get back to Volmar. Maybe next month for White History Month. Just in Volmar. What else? Marilynn Malerba, this woman who praised Obama, talked about social justice, talked about Obama supporting getting rid of the American Indian mascots, the heroic, dignified warrior, Redskins and Apaches and Braves. Right? Atlanta Braves? Trump was doing that. That was cool. He was doing the Atlanta Brave hatchet chop, something like that. This woman is currently the chief of the Mohegan tribe. Is that the Mohicans? They're just spelling it Mohegan tribe. Is it the same thing as the Mohawks? Anyway, it's based in southeastern Connecticut. Didn't know Connecticut was big enough to have a southeastern Connecticut. But anyway, I'm mocking Connecticut for being a small state. She's the first woman to be elected to the position. What a disgrace to the Indians, huh? American Indians, the Mohicans. It's not the same as the Mohicans, is it? Because there was a movie, The Last of the Mohicans, so probably they're gone now, right? Oh, tomahawk chop. Okay, thank you. Different, says Christopher. Thank you, Christopher, over there in the YouTube chat. She's been serving a so-called lifetime appointment since 2010, serving herself and serving the false ideology of social justice, which she shamelessly, unironically touted, credulously touted, gullibly touted as a female. She also has a role as a member of the Treasury Tribal Advisory Committee. Prior to her tribal council, quote-unquote, work, she had a long career as a registered nurse. She would have been an okay nurse, I think, maybe. Maybe. And she was chair of the Mohegan Tribal Council, served as in tribal government, Unlike the position of U.S. Treasury Secretary, where Janet Yellen is the first woman to quote-unquote serve, not even a Christian woman. Of course, no Christian woman would undignify herself to be a quote-unquote leader like that, right? I don't think. Malerba's appointment looks to continue that legacy. And by the way, her appointment does not have to be confirmed by the Senate anymore. The U.S. Senate doesn't confirm the appointment for that. I don't know why. Speaking of the dollar, you know what's interesting? Jesse 2 over there on YouTube says Obama, and I don't know if this is true, but it caught my eye. Obama printed more money than all other presidents combined, or the Fed under Obama, or whatever. He appointed unchristian people to the Fed too. The corrupt Fed. I think it's corrupt, right? Morning Brew reports the best performing currency this year. And I don't know anything about money, right? This type of stuff, but it caught my eye as something mildly interesting. The Russian ruble? Strange but true, the Russian ruble is up about 35% in 2022 and is at its strongest level versus the dollar since 2015. Kevin Howe, no offense, man. I appreciate you. He's a Russian critic, which he has legitimate criticism, I'm sure. But up with Russia, down with the American, un-American establishment. It's un-American, un-Christian, this establishment that hates Americans. So, and this anti-Russia mess is just, in my opinion, overreaction and propaganda that's only hurting more Ukrainians, by the way, because you know how Russia's invading Ukraine and dropping bombs on them hard. They wouldn't have to drop so many bombs so hard on them had the U.S., the so-called U.S. and NATO not gotten involved and welfared the Ukrainian un-Christian war. Ukraine is supposed to be a Christian country too, by the way, but they have an un-Christian president, Volodymyr Zelensky. The currency was expected to collapse after the West applied sanctions in response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. And initially it did, according to the Morning Brew. But since it's mounted can I speak? Can I read? But it has since mounted a comeback thanks to A, continued demand for Russian energy exports, particularly in Asia, and B, capital controls intended to prop up demand for the ruble. Hake, don't breathe on people if you have a rotten tooth. Thanks for the tip, Ian. I do keep, it's called, I don't really smell. I don't think I do smell. And I don't think it's that rotten. It's just messed up. Anyway, right on Russia, right? I mean, good for them. Wish all people well, right? We love Israel. We love Russia. We love America. We even love the children of the lie, as JLP calls them, and it's true. Matt, living the dream, says, Russia, he's a Fed plant. I think he might be referring to Zelensky. I'm not sure. I've heard the same. Russia is gaining economic strength while the USA destroys itself right on schedule. Russia is still a nation that believes in borders and nationality to a certain extent. Even though even Vladimir Putin has, he's been against stuff like Islamophobia or whatever. I don't know if he's used that word, but he's been for, he's a politician. And some say he's a killer. But as Trump said, we got a lot of killers here, too, here in America. What, you think we're so innocent? And that's a fair point. Wouldn't it be lovely to have Trump back? He knows how to get along with people who need to be gotten along with, or with whom you ought to get along. He doesn't get along with people who you don't need to get along with. He's not a go along to get along type of a guy so much. A little bit he is. It's true. And that has not been a good thing. Trump does go along a little bit to get along. But this guy's, there's no comparison between him and the rest of the phony politicians. I don't know how you guys can, you Trump detractors can, and I love you, can pretend like this guy is not the best president that we've had in at least 30 years, maybe 40. Maybe longer than that. Maybe ever, but I don't know. Because I don't know anything about history. But anyway, go Russia. Russia rules, Biden drools. Yeah, indeed. And, speaking of, sleepy Joe Biden, I heard that did he go already? Or is he going? Or what? I think he went to Saudi Arabia, right, to go beg. Can you guys go make more oil, harvest more oil, drill, pump, whatever. More oil, please. That country whose like several members of the 9/11 hijackers were Saudis, by the way. I don't know if Saudi Arabia was involved, but whatever. He went there to beg for more oil, right? According to the reports. And I saw this headline from like Yahoo News or something. There are quote unquote dissidents. Maybe they're over there in Saudi Arabia, which maybe that does make them dissidents. They're all mad. But one of them is like, the picture that they use is this guy who's holding a sign about Jamal Khashoggi, whatever his name is. Let's see. Biden in Saudi Arabia. And then there's this guy who, I don't know if this is an American. He has like it looks like a Washington, D.C. hat, by the way. But he's holding pictures and a name of Jamal Khashoggi. Jamal Khashoggi was a Qatar-supported propagandist for the Washington Compost, and the mainstream media was all up in their feelings because this guy got allegedly murdered or assassinated or something. I forget how he died, if it was shot or poisoned or what. And I think it was in Saudi Arabia or something. Just killed. And he was a Washington Compost writer. And Cernovich, Mike Cernovich, the journalist, center-left guy. I think he loves America. Solid guy. In many ways. He pointed out so many of these people are funded by Qatar, what's Qatar? I don't know what they are. I know it's a country, and I know it's like a Middle Eastern maybe country, Muslim or something. But these people don't have American values, and this Jamal Khashoggi, I don't know. I don't know. But it seems kind of mainstream. It doesn't seem very dissident to be all, ooh, Jamal Khashoggi. Unless you're in Saudi Arabia proper and you're doing that, then that's a little bit brave, I guess. So, and I mentioned in Hake News past couple of days, and I mentioned it on the show yesterday, about Biden wanting to get rid of the tax. Yeah, like that's really going to help. What was that? Where was that I mentioned it? Oh, yeah. At the end of hour 2 of the show today, I reported Sleepy Joe Biden's going to speak today. He's going to have a speech calling on Congress to suspend the federal gasoline and diesel taxes, which I reported are like 18 cents a gallon. Hey, we all know you worship Israel. 18 cents a gallon, 18 and a half cents a gallon for regular gasoline, right? Something like that. And diesel tax, I don't know if it's more or what. But the policies we've pointed out, and the super chat from Base America First yesterday pointed out that the policies of Sleazy Joe and his ilk, the demon rats, I call them, and the rhinos, the people overreacting with to the China virus and shutting down stuff, with all these restrictions that, in my opinion, are unnecessary. Their overreaction to the Russia invading Ukraine thing. And much of Ukraine is ethnic Russians, by the way. I don't know how much. Maybe it's not that much, but it's significant. And there have been problems there. These people have the price of gasoline up like dollars a gallon. That's like 10 times the amount that they need to, 10 times the amount that they're trying to give us relief of. They're giving us cents. Giving us back our cents, right? Because they're stealing our money by way of taxes, right? I don't even think that taxes are truly constitutional, although they've added amendments to pretend that it is constitutional. Just until the end of September, the administration officials said, framing the move as necessary to provide a little relief to Americans, which is not even close to enough to resolve the problem. And it's not really a problem, it's a symptom of surging energy prices. A symptom brought on by the evil within these people's hearts and their blind, false solutions, you know? Evil Biden will also call on states to take steps to remove their own taxes on gas and diesel. Again, cents, probably. Not dollars, which we're up by dollars per gallon. Now, I know people who are spending over $100 to fill up their gas tanks, where it used to be like 40 or less to fill up their gas tanks. And their credit cards are like, or whatever they have, are only approved for like $100 at a time at a given gas station. So they have to like pay twice. Crazy. He'll tell oil refining companies to increase their capacity ahead of their planned meeting later this week with administration officials. But really, he likes this destruction. He's all, buy electric cars, which are subsidized by the government and also not effective and that clean, I hear. You know? I'm shaking my head. So, anyway. You can call in, guys. 888-775-3773. I think I have some super chats here over there on Odyssey, ODYSEE.com/@ The Hake Report. Brandon M. says, Hake, I got banned from Instagram for lovingly harassing your featured newsworthy degenerates. I'll be back, though. You're talking about my featured newsworthy degenerates. The degenerates whom I featured as newsworthy, like this lady? Oh, or you're talking about when I tell you don't harass such and such or so-and-so. Oh, don't make me smile too big, man. No, I don't know if it hurts. Geronimo says, Hake, for tooth pain and healing, very effective tip. And actually, I didn't have tooth pain. Once my tooth broke, the pain went away. I did have to file down the sharp part so my tongue didn't get, cut up or messed up with a sore on it. I filed it down with my Swiss Army knife. But anyway, very effective tip that dentists do not let people know. Oil pulling. Really. Oil pulling. I have to look that up. And thank you for the email. Saw that come in. Appreciate it. I shall look into that. Yeah, thank you, Brandon M. And good luck. Think about what you did while you're in Facebook, Instagram jail. I'm shaking my head. Based America First is the one who gave me that super chat yesterday. Good analysis on the gas rebate. Create a crisis and then create a boondoggle to bribe voters with their own debt. And it's not even bribing them. It's not even repaying them the money that they cost them. It's like a tenth of it. Maybe a little more, but just a tiny fraction of it. Blame rhinos, as predictably Sleepy Joe will do, if they do not suspend the gasoline tax, petrol, if you're foreign. They can't, since those funds are legally committed. They can't suspend the gasoline tax. Cash for clunkers, too. Cronyism. Obama did cash for clunkers, and that was called crony capitalism. I call it commie capitalism, but same thing. It's evil. Will cost 10 times the quote-unquote savings. Salt water, Hake. All you can eat salt water and leave it there for a while. I did swish, and I had I swished with this stuff that he gave me too, prescription mouthwash, no alcohol in it. And it left a bad taste in my mouth. And I was reading the news. I kind of coughed and hacked a little bit. Almost needed some water when I was doing Hake News at the end of hour 1 of the Jesse Lee Peterson show today. Check it out. Oil pulling is for oral hygiene. LOL, says Alyssa. Anyway, speaking of oral hygiene, Cigarettes, guys. The far left females at the Skim say cigarettes could take a hit thanks to a new potential nicotine rule. Pass me the news. In April, the corrupt FDA proposed a ban on menthol cigarettes. Remember I covered that? They're all, oh, blacks smoke menthols more, and gays do too, and women maybe too, and children, especially POC children, POC being the anti-white ones, blacks and Hispanics. They're like way more likely to smoke, period, than white kids who are like raised by actual parents. For the most part, kind of. Although those parents are getting kind of weak too. The last remaining flavor in the U.S. market, other than tobacco. Oh yeah, they banned flavored cigarettes. Was that Trump too? I feel like Trump was part of this too. He banned flavored cigarettes. Aw. And flavored vapes and stuff, right? POC is an anti-white slur, says Tyler. Yeah. Yesterday, the sleepy Biden administration announced the proposed rule requiring tobacco companies to reduce nicotine levels in cigarettes to minimally or non-additive levels. Only one other country in the world is taking a step like this. Liberal woman-led New Zealand. You know, as I think about this, as I'm reading this, they want to diminish the nicotine levels in cigarettes. Camel Crush, best of both worlds, says Raymond 11. I disavow, kids. Don't smoke. Don't do drugs. The year behind me, when I was in grade school, elementary, junior high, was the so-called drug-free class of 2000. Yeah, right. I think the younger people got more and more and more of druggies. Even the quote-unquote good kids were all druggied out. Remember one of my co-hosts, or a couple of my former co-hosts on the Hake Report with Joel and Esteban? No longer. They got fired because they didn't want to work on Christmas. And I was ready to work on Christmas, meaning stream my show on Christmas Eve, which was Sunday, I think, Christmas Eve 2017. I ended up going to Big Bear and then interviewing AJ Gallardo, the original creator of the Hake Report theme song. But those guys, they're younger than me, right? They're younger millennials. I'm like an older millennial, borderline Gen X, but they're younger millennials, more like straight up millennials. And those are like good kids. They're not kids anymore. They're young men. Joel Friday, who's actually clean, totally drug-free, by the way. I will have you know. Doesn't even drink. Solid guy. Former board operator. The gifted of dance. Dancing on nails for Jesus. But even those guys, like in like high school, they and their friends probably given by their teachers, you know? Drugs. So they're promoting drugs, but they're pretending to go after the cigarettes. Okay. I mean, they are going after the cigarettes. Interesting, huh? And by the way, as I bring this up, they want to diminish the nicotine levels, but I read on the news in some report recently that the THC levels, that's that testosterone, something, you guys know the word, THC, which is in pot, is up since like the 60s, 70s. It was up 5%. The THC levels have been going up and up and up in the pot that people smoke. And JLP has said that back when he used to be a pot smoker, it was just regular pot. It wasn't that strong. Tetrahydrocannabinol. Thank you, Kilo Alpha 1. You would know. You got me. That's way up. And that messes with the mind in ways that you're not even aware. But it doesn't kill you, at least not as fast. It just keeps you dull and compliant. You know? Dull and compliant. That's how they like you to be, degenerate, but still alive to be able to be there for them to extract more value from you. Your vote, your being a sucker, and other things. And a lot of the pot smokers are not going to, that listen to Hake, are not going to fall for all of the liberal mess. But, you know, evil is evil, and you don't want to be subject to evil. You, as the Bible says, and we all each got to overcome the issues. Food, sex, alcohol, smoking pot, smoking nicotine, all that stuff. But I just find it interesting that the government's cracking down on that. But anyway, I'll explain, and for the intellectuals, they'll think, oh, that makes sense. Could be one of the biggest government attempts to stamp out smoking in decades. Cigarette smoking is supposedly the leading cause of preventable disability, disease, death in the United States, and accounts for about 1 in 5 deaths in the country, more than 480,000 people each year, supposedly. FDA officials say the move could protect future generations and even help wean existing smokers off of cigarettes. Wean. Mama. Protect. Mama. Right? By next year, the corrupt FDA will formally publish the proposed rule. Then it goes through public comment and edits. The tobacco industry could fight the rule in court. One former FDA official, not the tobacco company has your best interest, right? The tobacco industry could fight the rule in court. One former FDA official said the rule could have the greatest impact on in the history of public health. Public health, the communist buzzword. It's very politicized. For years, the government's pushed to reduce cancer deaths. But they really, in my opinion, they talk out of both sides of their mouth. You know? Mouths. By talking out of both sides of their mouths, I mean, they want a little cancer affecting the people so they can be like, oh, let's swoop in and save these poor cancer patients. But they don't want too many people getting killed. Because too many people getting killed, then they run out of money too. They like people to be corrupt, sick, and even a little bit dying. Just enough to need more government, right? Mama, swooping in, want to feel needed, want to feel important, right? Sleepy Joe with his sleazy, emotional self. Oh, you guys with the China virus, some of you are missing a person at the table. Dad! 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 For the first time, its decision to take on big tobacco companies could lead them closer to that goal, right? Reduce cancer deaths. Again, blacks, gays, POC, they cast it as a social justice thing. And it's funny because there are dumb, evil, false black leaders on both sides of this argument about menthols and flavored cigarettes and all that stuff. Because Al Sharpton, who may be funded partly by the tobacco companies, said, oh, if you outlaw this stuff, it's going to cause conflicts between black and brown minors and the cops who are forced to enforce these political rules, right? You know, they're selling the Lucy cigarettes and stuff like that out there. Oh, this ends today, Fat Eric Garner said. And then he had the seatbelt maneuver called a chokehold by Officer Pantaleo, took him down, and he's like, I can't breathe, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. That was a liberal law against, taxing the heck out of cigarettes just to get money and to pretend to manipulate the people. FDA types want to ban and limit them, saying, oh, this is systemic racism. Oh, and these tobacco companies are targeting POC and gay and women and black people and youth with this stuff. Anyway, what a mess. I guess that's enough of that. 11 minutes on cigarettes. But anyway, it's not very ladylike, ladies. but don't judge yourself. But you do want to be conscious and aware. And you do, some people do hate consciousness and awareness. I guess that's why we get high. I say we in this, and I'm not talking about high as in on pot necessarily. False, all these false drugs, whether it's sex or whatever. Okay? All right. And I was thinking about Bone Thugs when I said that we get high. Don't look them up, kids. Let me quickly, in the last 4 minutes of this first hour here, get to Shane in Newfoundland. I call it Newfoundland, Canada. Shane, the Newfie in Canada. How are you doing? It's good to hear from you.
All is well, boys. Just a really hot day. How are you doing?
Doing fine. It's pretty warm up here, too. I mean, it's 80, which it didn't used to be warm for me, but now I'm
What is
spoiled.
that in real numbers, though?
You know what? Oh, you're talking about, because you only know Celsius.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, 80 degrees Celsius is, let me see. 80 degrees Fahrenheit to Celsius is 26.67 degrees.
Okay. Yeah, that's about how hot it is here today, and it's brutal.
Yeah.
No, I got in from the yard, and I heard you going on about the cigarettes and the pot and stuff, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm up in here in Canada. Like, you're not even allowed to market tobacco here.
Wow.
But all the pot and stuff, like, I haven't seen ads or anything.
Yeah.
But you know how in certain places, like especially up here, you have the plain packaging for smokes, right, or anything with tobacco. They're not allowed a logo or anything colorful. It's all shades of black, white, and brown. And they have these great big morbid pictures with people who are half rotten from cancer on them.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But meanwhile, all the pot, like I go out, I buy some pot or whatever here and there to smoke up in the evening. And they have logos, they're colorful, they're everything. And it's just like, and then they got it with chocolate and gummy bears and stuff like that. And it's not like kids are buying it, because it was always a thing, like you were saying, like, was it the race hustlers down your way? They were just like, oh, the menthols and stuff is a race issue.
Right.
Before that, it was just like, oh, what? Think about the children. And it's just like, how about we just let people put stuff in their, like, even if it's a bit of weed or a bit of tobacco, how about if people want to make that informed decision, they're allowed to?
Yeah. I mean, I understand you want to, it seems kind of mama, and I wonder if it was mama to do the, back 100 years ago or so, we had prohibition of alcohol. Some say it didn't.
Well, that's what the suffragettes did. The first thing the women did when they got power was
Really?
away alcohol.
Okay.
And it created mobsters like Al Capone.
Interesting.
The black market.
Yeah. Interesting.
Right?
I didn't know. Yeah, I had heard
up.
that was women behind that. And I don't completely disavow prohibition. But I don't know. Because I think there's a lot of propaganda on against it, because they want to legalize pot and all that stuff. So I don't know.
Oh yeah, well now we're reaching to the point where they want to like legalize and recreationalize all the really hard drugs. Like
Right.
British Columbia over here on the West Coast.
Uh-huh.
They decriminalized stuff like heroin and cocaine and stuff, and now they're pushing for legalization and regulation. It's just like, no, a bit of pot was fine, like stuff that like so long as you're in control and isn't physically addictive, because pot is very much habit forming, right? And it gets mentally addictive for people. But the physical addiction stuff that where you go through massive withdrawals and stuff if you don't have it, like I don't understand why they're doing it. It just seems like they want to keep us drugged up and dumb.
Yeah.
Right? And then the few things that people used to derive a bit of pleasure for, like a bit of booze or a bit of nicotine or whatever, they regulate it all to hell, and you got to pay umpteen taxes on it. Like a normal pack of 20 smokes there is something like $25 now.
Wow.
Right, and that's not even. I'm not even talking like the cheap stuff like Pall Mall. I'm just talking like players.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. And meanwhile, the pot keeps getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. And then there's me, who's a dumb idiot, who started smoking pot at around 20-ish, and then started cutting it with a bit of tobacco every time he has a smoke. So it's just like, oh crap! Now everything's going up on me.
Yeah. Wow. What a mess.
It's a mess how they do it. They try to nanny state everybody.
Yep.
It's just like, oh, you're not allowed to do this, you're not allowed to do that. But if you're going to do it, here's all these nasty pictures that make you vomit and throw up, and here's all the taxes and regulation. so we can have our little bureau of business or whatever in the government and our bureaucracy.
I know. I feel like sending some of my smoker friends, so-called smoker, right? Smoker friends, those pictures of those people with the holes in their throats and stuff, because that propaganda like works on people. You know, it's like horrifying.
Oh,
I don't know if it
horrifying.
works, but it is horrifying. It's like scary. But you don't want to operate in fear and this judgment stuff. I mean, smokers are very judgmental people. And this judgment is what keeps you and gets you into all these different vices that we take on. And I say we because not that I'm into cigarettes or pot or anything, but any of these vices that we get into. What a mess. You're supposed to shed things and not be so into this judgment stuff. But you're right. It's such a woman thing. And I love how you called it the nanny state. It's so true. Women get the wrong idea about everything. Even the conservative Christian ladies. And I love you, ladies. I cherish you. Go ahead.
Think about the playground, right, with some teachers or whatever, because they're mostly women or whatever, just women watching over youngsters, right? Like, if a couple boys get into a fight or an argument and, like, they start rumbling and tumbling on the ground, that's just how boys figure stuff out, right?
Right, yep.
Like, women will go over and just be like, no, you're not allowed to interact anymore. You both have half side the field to yourselves.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas the fathers or the men would just be like, let them work it out amongst themselves. They'll be best friends in an hour.
True. Good point. Yeah,
right?
That's so true, man.
And it's the same thing with the gun grabbers. They're just like, people use guns to do bad things, therefore we got to get rid of the guns. It's just like, that ain't going to stop the bad things from happening, though. There's a lot of underlying causes there.
I know, and those people who are for those things, they support the underlying bad causes. They are people... they're the people causing the problems and causing the symptoms. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, man. Like, they go out of their way to judge people and stuff like that. And one of the things that got me up on the whole smoking bit, like, I watched this movie now, it must be 10 or 15 years old. It's called Thank You for Smoking. Is the guy that played Harvey Dent in that Batman Joker one from back in, like, 2007 or 09.
Oh, okay.
It's a really good movie and makes the thing is just like, yeah, big tobacco's pretty scummy, but you should have the right?
Interesting.
It's like the guy who played Harvey Dent, he's the main guy in it, and he plays a spin doctor for Big Tobacco.
Wow.
And, it's really, really good if you want to look it up.
Was it Aaron Eckhart?
Yep.
Aaron Eckhart. Okay. Well, thank you for the tip, man. Appreciate that.
Yeah, it's good. There's just the one thing that really got me, though, after I seen that was just like, where I do go out and buy a pack of smokes or a bit of weed here and there at the smoke shops, because there's old ladies running the shops, too, because it's just out in front of the grocery stores, right? They can't even pick out the tobacco. Like, all the tobacco is, like, behind closed doors. They got to unlock stuff.
Wow.
Weed is in a vault, but that has all of its logos, and it's sorted right nice, whereas all the tobacco is all the exact same packaging. There's no logos. There's no colors that differentiate from it, so they don't even know if they're handing you the right thing half the time.
Wow. What a mess.
Yeah, it just gets really confusing and really stupid.
Yep. Well, I appreciate the call. Shane, it's good to hear from you, man.
Yep. Thank you.
All right.
Have a good day now.
You as well. Guys, it is time for some music. I know, I disavow the hidden cameras. Just a few more days left, right? Trolling you guys through June. It is. Do not listen to the lyrics, okay? Don't pay attention to the lyrics. And just enjoy the good quality music. It's pretty good quality music, I think. Some of you guys have been appreciating the music aspect of it. I disavow the lyrics. Okay, here it is, and I'll be right back for the rest of hour 2. Hang tight, guys, and I'll see you soon. Nice.
With fangs and red eyes, I bust my hair is shine. The sky stained pearl drab as the dad drives. Through the thunder and the cold, the cassette survives. Brittle plastic that turned diamonds, we refined. The union of the scene is vivid cassette is alive. trip through his front door. The tangled closing bonds is belayable. He slaps my belly to a beat with the meaty groan. We then finish with the feast and the ship of peace. In the Union of Pride. Lost but he is mine. Be on top and behind. The odor of the refined. I wore out his radio. It's like drinking in the cold with the cheapest wine. Maybe told as we kiss and rose. The boy is entered on his side as he wonders why. That in the Union of Wine, the Walkman I am blind. The cassette is alive.
So good or not? Is this Arcade Fire? Asks Nicolas. I think this predates Arcade Fire. Or maybe it's just right around the same contemporaries. This music pees me off. Yarr! Says pirate accent. Says DJ on Paul. Why? What's wrong with the lyrics? Don't ask, Lisa. Lisa, don't ask. For your health. The hidden cameras are an anti-white slur. You high on pot. You don't enjoy Hake's music. Never thought I'd miss Frog Eyes, but here we are. Where's the squirrel? Yeah, I'm just showing flowers today. And trees. You can't tell a hip-hop head not to listen to the lyrics, Hake. No music, just smoke talk? Nice. Unfortunately. You were premature. I listen to lyrics, says Have a Cigar. I know. Muted. Stay saved. Don't listen to Hake's devilish music. Keep exposing evil. Gotta go. Good show. Thank you, John. Why are you saying smokers are judgmental? Asks David. If they weren't judgmental, they wouldn't need to smoke. You'll notice when they get stressed, they're like, I gotta take a break. And they get fed up with hanging out with you, they're like, I'll be outside. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I stress out the smokers. Dang, tobacco is getting the rap. Cigarettes are like less than 20% tobacco, says John Frederick. I know, and pot used to be less than 5%. Now it's like more than 30% THC. Or am I wrong? Just on average? Celsius is a lot more sensible, says David Andreas over there on YouTube. 0 is freezing and 100 is boiling for water, right? Under normal circumstances. Why do you Americans have to overcomplicate everything? Because we're smart. Well, some Americans are smart. No, I don't know. Aren't we using British, and the Brits don't even use it anymore? Or am I wrong? Now, when I do smoke, I don't expect it to make anything better. It's just a compliment to my life, says Kilo Alpha 1. Worshipping THC, says Canadian David over there on D Live, is an indirect way of worshiping the woman. He says it produces estrogen in men, too. Very interesting. Patriot Girl says, I like the sound, hey. Yeah, I like the sound, but disavow the lyrics again. Well, I should just not even bring that up, to be honest. I used to use, not just you, Hake, I used to use cigarettes to avoid annoying people, says Nugget Man. Now he watches one. Very tough, very strong man. You've come a long way, Nugget Man. Is Hake annoying at all? Some people thought that I was annoying. Now they like me because I was too thorough or something like that. Too detail-oriented. Anyway, let me get to David in Norway before I get back to these news topics. David in Norway, thanks for calling. How are you doing?
Hey, man. How are you?
Doing well. How about you?
Yeah, I'm doing well.
Nice. Stay close to your phone.
I want
Maybe we'll have to turn them up as much as we can. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I just wanted to try to change your mind on the legalization.
Okay.
Because you're not for outlawing alcohol, are you?
I don't know.
Or
not really. No.
oh, yeah.
Not really. No. I'm a little bit indifferent on that.
Because,
But yeah, I don't know. Let's say
mean,
no. No, I'm not not for outlawing alcohol. No.
Come on, gotta have some freedom.
Right.
But yeah, so I was just thinking about everybody's gonna have some hard times in life, and you're gonna turn to something, cigarettes or alcohol, and pot is not the worst option, really.
You may be correct that it's not the worst option. Are you saying
think
that
it
it's a
might
better
be the
option?
best.
Are you saying that it's a better option than alcohol and cigarettes, nicotine?
mean, nobody ever died from smoking too much pot.
But death.
But, a lot of people die from alcohol poisoning.
But that's a good thing because we want those people dead. I'm being a little facetious, but my point is death is not the only evil because pot, yes, does allow you to maybe live longer, but your mind is maybe worse off than the drunkard's mind. The drunkard, and I know that.
I don't know. I've tried both. I've tried over drinking and I tried smoking pot. And for my mind and my mental health, alcohol was totally ruining me. So
okay, yeah, I accept that. But I'll tell you that the pot affects your cognition, according to the studies, in ways that alcohol does not. Even though I'm not for either. And you mentioned when you encounter tough times, you turn towards something, and I'm not for turning towards those things. Although I know everybody does it, it's best to face it sober.
Everybody would turn towards Jesus.
Yeah, just suffer through it and overcome.
But that's not the world we live in. So
it's not. But we want
think a bit. Practically.
My point is the reality of the situation is it is illegal, at least in some places, this pot stuff, and the people who are pushing to make it legal, most of those people who are pushing to make it legal, aside from you and some other people who may be pretty decent, the biggest people leading for that are not decent. They don't have the best interests of the people at heart, and so why would we change it? Why would we change it? You know?
Let's say that a libtard would be against gay marriage.
Right.
That wouldn't make me have to support the opposite.
Right. No. Yeah, but my point is we have this. Most of the pro pot people are in that pot culture where they get high. They're not the people who are about actual health and not getting high.
They might be more outspoken about it, but
right.
I'm not sure if you have some stats about it or.
Well, I'm not too into the stats. I have heard stats that as they legalize it, there's been more and more people going mentally ill. Tucker Carlson has covered how more people have gone, according to Asmodor. I think he gave a super chat relatively recently when I was talking with somebody else. Let's see.
Yeah, Yeah, but to misuse drugs, you have to be kind of mentally ill in the first place.
True.
I would say,
True. I think that
or spiritually ill.
Right. The main point is, don't get into something if you're not already into it. And if you are into it, don't accept it as something good.
But then again, when it comes to the blacks and if they like smoking pot, I'd feel safer if I was in the hood somewhere around a bunch of blacks who were high than around a bunch of blacks who were drunk. Because they'd be so tired they wouldn't be into fighting and robbing.
You may be right, but the blacks get high more than anybody, and they're also more violent, and they're also more mentally ill with this. There's something that they call it. I forget what it was, and I'm looking for Asmodor's chat, but for some reason they're not like coming up in this thing.
I think it might be even worse if they didn't get high.
No, man, no, don't fall, don't don't give excuses to them to get high. I think it's worse that they do get high. And
I think them getting drunk would be even worse. That was the only option, or other drugs for that matter.
I know, but it's a common argument to compare one wrong thing to another, right? Especially among the potheads.
There are only so many options for people who.
But you're comparing evil to evil. How about compare evil to good? Good would be.
Why is pot necessarily evil?
Because it messes with your mind. That's not sober. That's not being.
He always says it's not from God, or.
It's not being sober.
It's from God. It's a plant.
It's not being sober.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, that's why it's.
And,
it is an invitation to evil.
Yeah, I think it would. Make it harder to pray or to.
Right, because you cannot focus and pay attention, and that's what prayer is paying attention and staying present, rather than in your mind and imagination. And there are people who, I really think that pot affects people who smoke pot more than they realize. Same thing too with caffeine. It affects you more than you realize. All of the drugs.
Yeah.
I don't discount that point that you guys bring up. Studies show that pot use in adolescents can cause up to an 8% drop in IQ, says Brandon M. with the super chat. Yeah, I've heard that it lowers your IQ over time. Did you know that you can lower your IQ? Amazing.
But I think the IQ goes, you go up you're at the top in your 30s, and then you go down again. And you do. It does vary a bit by age.
Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, but it's funny enough that the older people who may have a lower IQ are more sensible. Often, I mean, they're supposed to be anyway. In practice, we all have seen senseless old folks. That's true. Ragnar 0321 says sugar too. Yeah, sugar's another crazy kind of evil in our world that's a bit over accepted. That's for sure. Good point.
Yeah, and I wouldn't recommend to the kids to start smoking pot or.
And don't encourage the blacks
to stay sober, of course.
Yeah, and don't tell the blacks
not the blacks either. But if you're a criminal and you're totally out of control, I would rather have you high than drunk. That would make me feel safer. That's for sure.
Right, but I'd rather them be sober and praying at home.
Yeah, of course. But,
than either of those.
It's not such an ideal world we live in.
For sure, but we aim for perfection. Do you smoke pot, David? You don't. If you don't want to say it, you don't have to.
No. With Jesse's help and praying a lot, it's gotten way down, and now it's just a tiny bit.
Okay. Well, right on. That's cool. That's cool to hear. So you used to be a major pot smoker, but now you're a very minor. You wouldn't, very little.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Nice. How old are you, if you don't mind my asking?
32.
Okay. And how long have you been doing that, out of curiosity?
I tried it the first time when I was, I even think I was 11. The first time I was introduced.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lived in a bad neighborhood.
Yeah. Man.
But I didn't start then. I just remember
Right.
some
Okay.
girls in the park offering me, and I think I started when I was 17.
Yeah. You said some girls in the park offered you some back when you were 11?
Yeah.
Corrupt girls. They're always trying to corrupt the man. Young men. Well, I appreciate the call, David. It's good to hear from you. You haven't changed my mind, but I mean, I do get that the world doesn't necessarily make sense, but that doesn't mean you go for making it worse. Just because it doesn't necessarily make sense to have it illegal in the first place, whatever, doesn't mean that you push to make it legal, because by making it legal, you're encouraging it and you're telling the kids, hey, this is all right. And it's not really.
But the thing is,
go ahead.
You know, in Holland, in the Netherlands, it's legal there. It's been since the 90s, I think, and
Right.
there isn't more people there smoking than in France, for example.
Uh-huh.
In Europe, that's the highest marijuana consuming country.
France is.
And that is totally illegal there.
Wow.
So that's not necessarily.
But neither of those
factor.
neither of those countries do I want America to become. I don't want America to become like the Netherlands, although I love the Dutch. We love the Dutch here. Dutch, right? They're called Dutch. Holland. But I don't want to become like them.
But then again, America had it legal until, if you read up a little bit on the history of hemp,
Yeah.
and how they changed the paper industry, and there's a lot of stuff like that. I don't know how much of it is BS, but
right. Yeah, I don't know that much about it either. Back then, the pot wasn't as strong as it is today either. They didn't have that THC levels.
That also, you can have that weak pot if you grow some ecologically. It is accessible, but it's just not what people want.
Right. Yep. High fructose corn syrup enlarges your heart.
I thought I had a couple of other good arguments, but I forgot them now.
No problem. You can call me another day.
Of course.
I'll take your call. I appreciate the discussion. It's good to hear from you, David. Take care. And shout out to Norway.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Take care.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Before I get back to calls, there is some confusing info on Uvalde, Texas, you know, where that young male, what's that guy's name? What was that guy who shot up the place? Salvador Rolando Ramos. 18-year-old Salvador Rolando Ramos, son of a single mother. He allegedly hated his dad. His dad kind of wished that the young male had killed him instead of all those people. The mother didn't seem to take any responsibility for her mess. My boy wouldn't do nothing. Morning Brew says Texas police officers were panned for inaction during the shooting. And you guys have heard this, and I don't know how true that is. Steve McCraw, director of the Texas State Department of Public Safety, Texas Department of Public Safety, sounds like a politician maybe, called local law enforcement's response to the Uvalde shooting. And, you know, I was kind of dismissing these people as, probably the law enforcement were, Hispanics. And a lot of Hispanics near the border there, not necessarily the bravest people. Some of them may be different. McCraw said the police could have stopped the gun male 3 minutes after he entered the school, instead of waiting more than an hour to storm the classroom where he was shooting. And maybe that's true, I don't know. The on-site commander put officers' lives before those of the children, McCraw said. And this has been the going statement, and a lot of you guys who are really into the news and know more than I do have said this too. But I've heard that there's more to the story than that. Like the police chief or school police chief ditched his radio so he would have two hands handy so he could point and shoot, thinking that he was going to be engaging with the suspect. So he didn't have radio to talk with the people. And apparently he couldn't put it on his belt. And so he wasn't necessarily a coward, I don't know. I couldn't say for sure. And so there's more to the story. It's hard to say. And really, this is like, once you get to the symptom, which is the messed up young male from a messed up false family, not even a broken family, and women running the show, by the way, in the homes, in the schools, and gun-free zones and all that stuff. Now you have to rely on the cops, and then even the cops are making mistakes, right? Anyway, I don't know. So I don't know what's going on with that. But here's a little bit more related to Uvalde. Uvalde. Here's a quote shared by CNN. "You could never ask a child," and I mentioned this from Hake News, "to go back, or a teacher to go back to that school, ever." And I say, why not? But that's a quote from the mayor of Uvalde, Texas, a white male, I think, saying Robb Elementary School will be bulldozed, or at least demolished, which is the same thing, I think, after a gun male, the murderer, 18-year-old Salvador Rolando Ramos, opened fire inside a classroom, killing 19 children and 2 teachers, May 24th, the 4th graders, 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds. There was one 11-year-old girl with the shoes that Matthew McConaughey showed off. Silly Matthew McConaughey. Forget him. But not mentioned, on Tuesday, Mayor Don McLaughlin, Laughlin, with Mick in front, MC. He sharply criticized the authorities who were leading the investigation, I think the state officials. Said he and other city officials have never been briefed on how the investigation is going. This mayor, Don McLaughlin, of the little town of Uvalde, 50 miles outside the border, I think, roughly, said he requested body camera video from all agencies that responded to the shooting and hasn't received any. Well, what's a mayor from some small town going to know what he's looking at with the... I mean, why do you need to know? I mean... It's in your interest to know, I get it, at least at some point. But he hasn't received any. Uvalde mayor accuses the state, this is in the Texas Tribune, of leaking records to make the local police look bad. Isn't that interesting? It's hard to know with so many fingers pointing every which way what the truth is, because they're all a bunch of politicians, including the locals. But the states tend to be more corrupt, and the feds even more corrupt, in my opinion. I think it's borne out that they get away with more and more and more. The stakes are higher and higher and higher. They get worse and worse and worse of people. Although there are some pretty bad people in the local level, I do admit. McLaughlin spoke out in a city council meeting Tuesday, accused state authorities of selectively releasing information about their investigation into the Uvalde shooting last month to disparage the local law enforcement. So, failings on many sides, right? On many sides. I'm going to get to Bill Cosby. They're trying to railroad Bill Cosby again, huh? What a shame. But first, let me get to William in California. William, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing all right. How you doing, James?
Doing fine, thank you.
Good. Every time we turn around and talk about these drugs, you get these little potheads, little wimps, calling in here trying to making all these excuses to make it legal. First of all, you cannot make it legal federally. States, if you knew anything, this
Interesting.
little hippie, think about it. You little hippie. If you don't know the law, states shall govern their own laws. And don't come up with these little excuses of medical use. Because the thing is, I know a lot of people smoke weed. I have smoked weed. But I know it's better to keep it illegal. Because every state that makes it legal, the states are out of control with crime, and everybody in the state is a pothead.
Yeah.
Now, that's coming from somebody that smokes weed.
Hang tight, callers. We will get to you. Yeah, it's. I mean, it's.
You dig
it's
what I'm saying, James?
I do. It's multiple causation, right? Multiple issues, but yeah, it's incidentally the ones
Quit
that are.
that.
Yeah, the ones who are pushing the
That's
pot
a hippie
legalization.
calling in here trying to make an excuse about some kid that needs it for their eyesight. Yeah, get out of here with that, dude. When the stuff was illegal, there was less crime on the street, actually. As weird as it sounds.
Huh.
But every state that has it legal, you want to look at their crime rate? Washington, Oregon,
Colorado,
California.
I don't know. Colorado. I mean, they're definitely not the best states anyway. I don't know if the crime has necessarily gone up, but
They're
look
not.
at Colorado has like this radical homosexual governor, I think, with a
That
so-called
too.
husband.
That
So
too.
what's wrong with you guys? Were you on pot when you
It's
voted?
not cool. It's not cool. And
Yeah.
let me tell you, it was when it was illegal. Didn't it look a little bit different when it was illegal? Like, people weren't just jumping around smoking that stuff out in the open like that. It wasn't like that.
Yeah, I don't like the smell of it, and now you smell it everywhere. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's as weird as that sounds. It was better when it was illegal.
I kind of think I mean, everything is being more and
I
more
don't
corrupted.
understand what I'm saying, James. Our neighborhoods actually looked better when it was illegal.
Yeah. There were other things too. Like we weren't.
I mean,
we
it
weren't
was a lot less. I mean, I don't know, man. As weird as it sounds,
So much
it
has
was
changed.
better when it was illegal. If you don't believe me, look at the states that have it legal.
They were better before, and now they're worse off.
Would you think so? Look, you live in California. I live in California. Look at Oregon. Look at Washington. Look at Colorado.
Yeah.
Were they better before it turned legal, or did everybody just start sitting on their butts, collecting checks and smoking pot every day,
Yeah.
playing PlayStation? Am I right or wrong?
That part is true.
It's
Like,
made a
even the
lost
old
generation.
Remember the old governor, the old guy who was the son of Governor Pryor, Jerry Brown.
Jerry Brown.
He
yeah.
said he didn't want to legalize it because it made a lot of people be lazy, basically.
It did.
Yeah. So he wasn't for legalizing it in California.
Look at this generation. They don't even want to work.
Yeah.
They don't want to work. They don't. They call in the radio station and make stupid statements like, "Well, I don't know, how come they don't just let it be legal?" Well, because states govern their own laws, dummy.
Yeah.
I mean, that tells me you smoke too much. You want the government to do everything for you. No, you don't want that. I mean, how would this look if all 50 states had legalized marijuana?
Yeah.
That painting a pretty good picture for you? Is that painting a good picture? That's not a good scenario.
Now, I
James.
don't know if it's true that crime has gone up or not in those states that quote unquote legalized it, but the states have not gotten better for it. It has certainly not gotten
Crime is
better.
up. You know how many people are getting, the stores are being robbed like you wouldn't believe. They're running whole vehicles in these places to take this marijuana. It's like, really? You're throwing a truck through the wall for weed?
Yeah, it's like the so-called leaders like us to be all High
They
and
are.
barely
They're
functional.
advocating for everybody to be a pothead is what they're doing. And then they want to bring up one or two kids that are sick.
Yeah.
It's got medical. Shut up. It's a pothead.
I
It's
don't
a
like that
pothead.
culture. I definitely don't. I'm not a fan of that pothead culture. That's true.
Man, it's
They've
it's
been
not
expanding.
what you do,
they've,
James. It's
they've been
how
expanding
you do
the
it.
beer.
If that's what you go
Beer
ahead,
drink.
James.
They've been expanding the beer drinking culture of the recent decades, and now the pothead
Turn
culture,
into fat belly.
and
yeah,
the sex,
yeah.
the sexualization culture, and that is really corrupt. That is so evil, and and idolizing the criminal cultures. So we have on every front we have evil being pushed. That's
It's
the
like
fact.
they're probably sitting there frowning right now. I'm not telling you shouldn't smoke weed. I'm just saying I don't really think the legalization helped anything.
Right.
What did it really do?
Yeah.
It gave you a chance to walk in a store and buy some weed. And you really think that's impressive. But
It
then
spread.
again,
I think it did spread some corruption of the individuals.
it did.
Yeah.
And then you got a lot of fathers sitting on their tail doing that. I mean, they're not like going to work every day,
Yeah.
paying their taxes, buying a home, raising their kids, and then every now and again get a shoebox and go in the garage and hide and smoke a joint. That is a total different animal I'm talking about right there. I'm talking about they're sitting on their tails daily and getting blasted. Meanwhile, the gayology is teaching your kids to be gay.
I've heard that DUIs went up in all the states that have legalized marijuana.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Driving under the influence.
Yes. You used to be able to smoke a joint while you drive to L.A. from the Bay Area and go party and you smoke a joint. The one that you didn't want was an open container in your car.
Right, alcohol.
It's automatically a DUI. That's right. But if but you got the joint. Usually it's officer's discretion. They'll usually tell you they'll take it and crush it. They'll take, give me the bag. And they'll just take it and just say, now go buy you some more somewhere else and we'll see you later. Here's your ticket.
Yeah.
If he's cool. But when they legalized it, they didn't think about that part.
Interesting.
Once
Wow.
it got legalized, you guys can now get DUIs for weed.
Terrible.
And how much is a DUI? Was it a minimum of like 10 to 12 grand?
Oh yeah, when you're all through with everything, it's I've heard that there's
10,
these
15
there
grand?
were these signs that said you just blew $10,000 when you blow the breathalyzer thing.
That's right.
It's wild.
So you're talking the classes.
Yeah.
The insurance goes up. Oh, you also have to have insurance to have a license. If you don't have a car, it doesn't matter. You had a DUI. You got to have insurance to have a license.
Yeah.
After a DUI. Oh, your insurance goes up too.
Yep. I appreciate it, William. It's good to hear from you, man.
Take care, buddy.
All right, you as well. Brent in South Carolina is on the line. Brent in South Carolina, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
Doing fine. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, the elephant in the room in this whole thing is like the drug war that seems to be a failure, and all these people in jail for non-violent little drug crimes. That's a big deal.
Is it?
I think so.
It may be. I don't know. I've never looked into it because I've never really been into that world, and so it hasn't been an interest of mine. I don't.
Right.
But it is a common statement among like establishment people and the liberals, or I don't know if it's really establishment.
Libertarians.
Libertarians have been saying the drug war was a failure, and so I'm not sure if that's just a commonly accepted myth or if that's a true statement. I do know, like, I remember before you respond, remember what you're going to say. I remember Nancy Reagan. Wasn't it Nancy Reagan who said, just say no to drugs to the kids? And like it worked on me because like none of my family takes drugs or smokes or drinks, and so it was
Yeah,
it was no
on me
temptation
for a while.
But the younger people, they're all over it, and so it reminds me of this woman thing. You know, the women doing the allegedly, according to my Newfie caller, the women doing the prohibition. So you know, women kind of go overboard with different things. The Just Say No campaign, drug-free, class of 2000 and stuff like that. So you may be right about that, but I'm just not sure. But what do you say? You were going to respond.
Oh, well, okay. Well, Prohibition basically created the mafia. Like, everybody knows this. And you know, marijuana illegalization created the Mexican drug cartel. And I'm not for legalizing cocaine. Like, I don't know. I guess I got some Dave Smith in me right now. But I think it is the libertarian kind of position that you're putting these people in jail for smoking a plant. Now
I don't know if that's actually happening or not. People say that. But I don't know if that's what's actually happening. People going to jail for smoking a little pot.
Or having it, yes. Of course they are. Are you
possession.
crazy?
I've heard of drug possession. If you have over a certain amount, they consider that, oh, you could be using that to sell it. Because they try to arrest the sellers, the dealers, the sellers, and not arrest the users. Because they pretend like the users are victims. And so they don't arrest those people. And so I don't know if people are going to jail for smoking weed. I don't know, man. I've heard that
they're going to jail for having it all the time.
Having it is different from smoking it. Having it, how much weed are you having? I don't know. But anyway.
Yeah.
Possession,
yeah, well,
you know.
Anyway,
and, you know, because
I think it causes more problems to make it illegal. But, I mean, I know what you're saying morally, but that is being idealistic and utopian to me. To think that it's better to have it illegal. If people grew it themselves, there wouldn't be drug crime like there is. People are killing each other over marijuana in the cities.
Are they?
You know it. Of course they are.
I know they're killing each other over drugs. I don't know if they're killing each other over marijuana.
Sure. That guy that you were just talking to was talking about how they are crashing in the legal states. They're crashing into drugstores and steal, you know, like.
Oh yeah, true.
Right.
But that's where it's legal. That's where it's legal, man. That's where it's already legal.
I know. If it was legal everywhere, people would grow their own.
No,
you know?
man.
Like,
people are not that enterprising. Everybody's not white, man.
Yes, they are.
Everybody is not white. And there are POCs
awesome.
who are enterprising, but people are trifling. They'll buy it, man. Anyway.
Yeah. No, but it's really expensive for a plant that will grow in 3 months. I'm telling you, it's a racket, and it's making criminals a lot of money, and that's not what you want.
Most of those in prison for drugs had much, much more marijuana than needed for personal usage, says Brandon M. They were selling it or transporting it, he says.
I know. Why can't I just grow some in my backyard?
And if you already know that it's illegal, shame on you. That's your fault. You know?
Yeah, I know.
That part is...
Yeah, in an ideal world, of course.
It's not that...
But it's a big, nasty business. Like, for no reason. It's just a plant.
Matt says, drugs make the world's economies run. Drugs and gold.
Yeah, why do you think we were in Afghanistan? Heroin?
I don't know. Is that a pot laugh, Brent?
Yeah.
he's always saying yeah, all shamelessly. Well, it's the main thing is it's something that you don't want to encourage. That's my point. And when you legalize it, you encourage it. That's my only point.
I don't think kids should be into it at all. I think it should be strict, but I don't know how you do it.
I get
to be honest.
I don't know if
I think adults. I don't think it's bad for some adults. I think it can be good for some people, to be honest with you.
I disavow.
But I don't. Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, if you're getting the kind that doesn't make you high, the CBD maybe supposedly doesn't get you high for like to fix your cancer or your back pain and stuff. But it's undeniable that there's this get high culture, and pornography. Yeah. I'm 100% against that and all that stuff.
I don't like to get high culture, but there's a lot of just regular people that smoke a little bit at night or whatever, and you think music hasn't been affected by drugs? Like it does. Smoking pot and playing your guitar. That can be a little bit different than. You know what I mean? Like,
you think music is better because of drugs?
No.
Okay.
There's a joke that you know what like hippies say when they're coming down off of their LSD trip. This music stuff.
Oh, I don't know, man.
But yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah. Matt Living the Dream says, heroin. Caller is correct. His brother guarded the poppy fields with his Marines, or Matt's brother guarded the poppy fields, which makes heroin, right? With his Marines over, what was that, Afghanistan or somewhere? Loaded up for them at harvest, too.
You know how much money that is?
Probably a lot. Probably a lot. Were you?
Wild.
Let's see. Somebody wanted me to ask if you were affected by the menthol ban, or has that even come into effect? You smoke regular cigarettes too?
Yeah, I do. But I smoke Winston's. I don't need.
Are those
menthol.
manly? Those are more manly cigarettes. I shouldn't say that.
No.
I'm sorry, kids.
It says. No, it says on the package tobacco and water because it doesn't have the additives.
Oh, just normal, straight up, God's
cowboy tobacco.
Okay, it's funny. Well,
whatever.
Yeah,
it's not good. It's not good, kid.
I can hear it in your voice.
It's not good.
You do have a smoker voice.
Oh, okay.
It's not necessarily a compliment.
I know.
I wish you well, though, Brent. It's good to hear from you.
I know.
Yeah,
Great
I'm not for
talking to you.
exacerbating the criminals. I mean, the evil of the heart is what expands the evil. And then there are misguided attempts to solve these symptoms in our world. And I do grant that we make stuff worse sometimes by trying to solve our issues, both on a personal level and politically. So cigarettes are not manly. Real men smoke cigars, or dip, says James.
Right on.
All right. Kids, there are no manly cigarettes. Hake's ego is coming out.
Yeah, right.
All right. Well, thank you, man. Appreciate your input. And you need prayer.
Thank you, brother.
Take care, Brent. Appreciate you.
We'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good. All right. I want to get to Bill Cosby, guys. Poor Bill Cosby, America's black dad, right? Did you know? The far-left females at the Skim say, Bill Cosby, who's facing repercussions? Repercussions. Oh, okay. A Los Angeles County jury, again, LA County jury, I feel like I mentioned this already, has found the comedian, what did I read something about this? I don't know, I'm confused. Maybe I did it in Hake News. I really hammed up the point that it was in LA proper. Los Angeles County jury has found the comedian, Bill Cosby, America's dad, America's black dad, guilty of so-called sexually abusing a 16-year-old girl in 1975. 1975. What is that, 37 years ago? Some of you guys aren't even, 47 years ago? Some of you guys aren't even 47 years old. Do I know math? I don't know. 1975, 85, 95, 100, 2005, 2015, that's 40, plus, okay, so roughly 27 years, 26, 27 years. Yeah, it was in Hake News. 47 years ago, more than 60 so-called women, I called them ugly, corrupt females. I laugh, but I cherish women, have accused Bill Cosby of so-called sexual assault or misconduct. Well, accuse yourselves, so-called ladies. Some of you guys maybe are ladies. Dating back to the 1960s. You know, some of you guys brought up, oh, I heard he admitted to giving Quaaludes to women to have their way with them. That's what they did back in those days. That's the context that they leave out. They don't tell you what they did, their part in it. These fake victims. It was a party drug, right? That's what I heard. I wasn't around in the 70s. In 2018, he was convicted of, quote-unquote, assault against a lesbian, which, I don't know, serving just under 3 years in a Pennsylvania state prison before his conviction was overturned on appeal because it was a wrongful conviction. They never were supposed to charge this man, according to a deal, I think, that they made. A so-called survivor, meaning alleged victim, and her legal team called it a victory. Bill Cosby's team argued it's a win for him because they didn't get the punitive damages. Yeah, $500,000 they awarded this woman who was 16 back in 1975. Okay, 16 plus 47 roughly. 63-year-old female. Where's your dignity? You're supposed to be wiser, woman. I'm shaking my head. Deshaun Watson, too. You know what, look, is there anything else about Bill Cosby that I wanted to say? Judy Huth was the woman, this lady, who got the $500,000 in supposed damages. It has been so many years and so many tears. I cried so many tears and shed so many tears. It's been so many years. I don't know. It's a Tupac song. Judy Huth. Won't. You guys know what I'm talking about? Some of you guys know what I'm talking about. Big Bump gotta know what I'm talking about. I'm totally butchering it. He's probably cringing hard right now. Bill Cosby's 84 years old. Chin up, King. We got you. And we're coming for you. We'll get you out. We'll spring you out of there. Legally, of course. Metaphysically, of course. Derek Chauvin. Railroaded in court for being white. And Bill Cosby for being a man. And Bill Cosby for being saying the blacks need to get their act together. Pull up your pants. You rape women, Bill Cosby, said that evil guy. I'm blanking on his name. I always butcher it anyway. Anyway, Deshaun Watson is another guy who got railroaded. Well, I don't know if he got railroaded. I don't know anything about him. But the far-left females at the Skim say the Cleveland Browns quarterback, a black quarterback? Deshaun Watson? Is that a black name? A black quarterback? That can't be, right? Yeah, he's black. He's got some white in him. I'm playing around, guys. Reached a settlement with 20 of the 24 supposed women, so-called women, who sued and accused him of sexual misconduct. Deshaun Watson denies the allegations. He's accused of harassing, assaulting, or touching the women during massage therapy sessions. He faces potential suspension by the corrupt NFL, which is very corrupt. The lawyer representing the women expects the remaining 4 lawsuits to continue on. And so whatever. And quickly, in the last minute or two here before we got to end, I saw this on Andy Knows YouTube community post about this black Antifa terrorist who wanted to kill cops and make bombs, etc. Oh, man. Okay. I didn't even get to the January 6th propaganda. So that's okay. Indianapolis male who went to Portland. He has, like, dreadlocks, all nasty. Ugh. Went to Portland from Indianapolis, Indiana, far away, to try to kill police during the riots in 2020. You know, the Georgia-Florida riots? federally sentenced for possessing bombs. Malik Fard Muhammad. But he's black with a Muslim name. A slave name, by the way. If it's a Muslim name, it's a slave name. That's what I say. Was already convicted on, and not Christian slavery. Christian slavery was white, and it was decent overall. I think. Convicted on state charges and included attempted murder. He was already convicted on state charges. Now he has federal sentencing for possessing bombs. The sentence for all convictions is a combined 10 years only. His bail was set at $2.1 million. Antifa networks and supporters raised money to get him out. There was a shocking DOJ press release. Okay, so they put it out to the press, but I only see Andy No covering it. Not that I pay that much attention, but CNN didn't put it in their morning update. Also received tactical training in Louisville, Kentucky, with far-left groups. Free Malik, says one West Coast Whisper Web Twitter for PDX. So sick, huh? Department of so-called Justice is prosecuting some black crime, some Antifa crime, but they are especially against the whites and real Americans. Beta locks. But I am so out of time. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you for bearing with me through this beautiful Hake report. I shall see you tomorrow. And also do join the Bond Archive Sunday service premiere. You can become a Bond channel supporter. And do it. Do it. rebuildingtheman.com/church. Nice. All right, guys. I will see you hopefully tomorrow. And yeah, my face is feeling okay, I think. Maybe I'm just distracted, though. Okay, take care, guys. Thank you. Adios.